Hey, how you doing? It's Marlon here with Barter Scoop, and real quick, we're going to just go over how to figure out what your true cost to barter is. We spoke on this on the latest episode, and we just wanted to give an example to hopefully better illustrate how to figure out what your true cost to barter is. So, with that, let's just get right into it. Um, the first thing the biggest thing that you got to always take into consideration is the difference between your fixed cost and your variable cost. Fixed cost or fixed expenses versus variable cost or variable expenses. And pretty much fixed costs are going to be things that are going to pretty much always be the same, and variable costs are going to be those things that are going to fluctuate depending on how much or how many. So let's just give an example of that. We'll go back. Fixed costs are going to be things like your lease, or your rent for your location that you're operating out of, any licenses that you have to have in order to be in business. And same with insurances. If you're in food business, you probably need some sort of commercial liability, or if real estate, you need errors and omissions, different insurances for different industries. So whatever your insurances are, your utilities to be able to operate, any labor costs that you have, or professional services that are a must for your particular business, that those things pretty much aren't going to fluctuate. They're going to be the same whether you're bartering with someone or not. So when you open up the doors, these things are going to be fixed. Now, on the other hand, seem to be skipping ahead, we have variable costs, and variable costs are going to be like your products or services or anything that needs to be replaced. So in a restaurant, you would have your food costs would be variable. So if you're bartering, you would be giving away food that you didn't have to give away, but your fixed costs, your electric, your labor, all of those things would still be there whether you were bartering or not. So also anything that would need to be replaced, napkins, straws. In a hotel, it could be something like soap, conditioner, toilet paper, things like that. All would be variable costs that would be a little bit additional, not a whole lot, but that would all fall into your variable cost. So let's give an example with a restaurant. So with the restaurant, they'd have a lease or whatever their rent was for that location, their utilities, labor for staff and things like that, any licenses that they needed to have, etc. And variable costs will be food, condiments, trays, straws, containers, and bags. So basically, when someone comes in the door, the difference in what they're going to spend with each customer depends on how much that customer orders. So that's going to be the food, condiments, and trays, straws, containers, and bags. All of the fixed costs are going to pretty much, for the most part, stay the same. So let's use this example so that we can hone in a little bit more on exactly what this means. So with this same restaurant, let's just say they bartered a dinner out for $100. Someone in the barter network came in and they wanted to buy a $100 dinner. The restaurant's variable cost would be around $30. So for most restaurants, their food cost is somewhere between 25 and 35%. So we'll just say it's around 30%. Cost of the food plus miscellaneous, the containers, straws, etc. So $30 would be their variable cost. Remember, all the fixed costs are going to be the same. Because this member came from a barter exchange, they'd also have a transaction fee of $10 or 10% of that $100 because they used the barter exchange. So in the restaurant's true cost to barter in this example would be $40 or 40%. $40 or 40%. Sorry about that. The key to all of this is knowing your variable costs, because when you're bartering, you're always bartering at your variable cost, not your fixed cost. So once you know what your variable costs are, that's how you always are able to tell how much you can afford to barter, how far you can go, what your true costs are. Remember, barter is extra business that your trade exchange is sending you. You're using downtime, excess capacity, things that, last year's inventory that didn't move. So you have to keep that in mind when you're also taking into consideration your variable costs, especially for those that usually just liquidate their last year's inventory and sell it for pennies on the dollar. This is a way to get much better purchasing power out of using your trade and knowing what your costs are. So the big benefit with this is you get to buy at a discount. You always get to buy at margins, and I'm going to show you another example just to to better illustrate that as well. So let's consider that above restaurant example, and let's consider now that a group comes in and they spend $1,000 with this restaurant. They book the restaurant out for a lunch, and their office comes in, and they spend $1,000 with the restaurant, 1,000 trade dollars in this example. The restaurant takes that $1,000 trade that they just earned, and they spend that $1,000 on marketing. So when the restaurant spends the $1,000 on marketing, their true cost of purchasing that marketing was actually $400, because we just determined previously that their true cost to barter was 40%. So they would be 40% on the $1,000, which gives us $400. So they bought $1,000 worth of marketing for $400. Pretty cool right there when you really think about that. But everyone says, well, a lot of times things are just so inflated. Well, this is the importance of knowing exactly how much how it's costing you to barter, your true cost. And we'll show that now. Let's take an iPhone that's for sale, for example, in a trade network. You got a news flash or an email, or somebody says, hey, I got an iPhone for sale. And the iPhone's retail price, let's say the iPhone X retail price is $1,000. But you know that you can go pay $800 cash for a brand new iPhone X. So already it's a little $200 difference just in the retail price and what you can go buy for cash for right now. But you see this iPhone X on the Barter network for $1,400, $400 more than retail. Would you rather pay $800 cash or $1,400 trade? Think about it. Most would pay cash. Let's keep it real, because a lot of people say, hey, things are inflated. I can go buy this for $800. I'm not spending $1,400 trade on this thing. But let's look at it a little bit further. The restaurant's true cost to barter was 40%. So $1,400 in trade actually only cost them $560. We're multiplying the 1,400 times 40% by 40%, and that's giving us $560 cash. So $560 cash, or would you rather spend $800 cash? You get it now? Their true cost to actually purchase that iPhone would have been $560 cash, because they're 40% into their trade. Always know what you're into your trade for. So if that phone came to me and it was $1,400 or $1,500, I knew that I would be still, even with cash involved, buying it less than what I could get it anywhere for on sale. So I hope that helps. Once again, Marlon with Barter Scoop, and have an awesome day.